So one thing that I've been talking to a lot of people about recently is our strength balance assessment and strength testing. It's really simple, and I have used it for 10 years now. I use it on myself probably twice a year, and I've used it on athletes. I've used it on everyone in between, right? Like people of all ages. And I've never seen someone pass all of our mobility and flexibility assessments and our strength balance assessment. Okay. And one of the reasons why I really like it is I try my best to take the guesswork out of everything that I can. Okay. Like I schedule, tasks that I need to get done. I schedule my workouts. I use these different assessments to see if my training and my workouts are improving my fitness, my strength, my range of motion, whatever it is that I'm looking to improve. In business, we use key metrics to know if our business is growing, if our business is more profitable, if you're gaining clients, if you're making more money, if your staff is making more money, right? And that's why these things are so important. And so here's the lower body strength balance assessment. And this is really for people who are working out. We would never do this with somebody who has not been lifting weights, who is not active, who's coming in off the couch. Okay. So this is for somebody who's already strength training, or they're an athlete that's lifting weights, or they're a client in our gym. And so what we're going to do is we're going to find your deadlift. We're going to say like an 8 to 10 rep deadlift max. Okay. That's probably the sweet spot for repetitions. Now, what we're going to do with this deadlift, you can't use a mixed grip. Okay. Because that artificially just makes your grip better and stronger. Okay. This is for injury prevention. This is for health. This is to find weaknesses. Okay. That's the key here. The goal isn't to try to beat the test. The goal is to just get an honest representation of your mobility, your flexibility, your strength in a few different areas. And then from there, you just get to see what you should work on. And that's the best part. It just simplifies what you specifically should work on. That's my favorite part. So you can use a hook grip, but it's going to be a double overhand grip. No belt, no lifters, no knee sleeves, none of that stuff, okay? Because again, most people, I've never seen anybody that uses a weightlifting belt. It helps you lift more weight. It's essentially like an artificial core. You're just strengthening your core and you're way stronger. And now, once again, we're trying to find areas to make you improve, okay? One of those is grip strength, core strength, right? Like all of these assessments and strength tests are looking for that. So if your grip is weak, you might not be able to hold on to the barbell with the deadlift or the one arm carry, right? That's okay. That just tells us that you need to work on it. You need to increase your grip strength. And that's going to translate over to, every exercise that requires gripping and forearm strength and things like that. But it's also going to reduce your elbow pain. It's also going to reduce your shoulder pain and injuries in those areas. So 8 to 10 rep deadlift, double overhand grip, no belt, no lifters, anything like that. No knee sleeves for any of these exercises. We also need to maintain a slower down, faster up tempo. And that's super key. Okay. And it also helps us not overdo it. And so, you're going to stand up, let's just say a 1 count deadlift off the ground, and then 1, 2 on the way down, come right back up. Okay. And so you're going to find a weight, 8 to 10 reps. For easy math, let's say that is 100 pounds. Okay, great. From there, we already know what weights we're going to use for your back squat, because the assessment and the strength testing for lower body is based off of your deadlift weight. Okay, because your deadlift should be the strongest exercise that we have for our lower body. And so you're going to take 80% of your deadlift weight for your back squat. So 100-pound deadlift, that means that you're going to back squat 80 pounds. Okay, so you multiply your deadlift weight by 0.8. If you have a 200-pound deadlift, it's 160 and so forth. So you do a back squat with 80 pounds, many reps as you can. Okay, again, no knee sleeves, no weight belt, no lifters, stuff like that. Have to maintain, as always with every exercise, slightly more controlled, slower down, slightly faster up. Once you can't do that, your set is over. And there's also no resting in between reps. So, with the deadlift, you're not going to pause on the ground or pause on the top. Your set is pretty much over at that point. It's consistent movement. So if you got 8 deadlifts at 100 pounds, you should be able to get 8 back squats at 80 pounds. Okay. Those numbers should be the same or as close as possible. From there, we're going to take 50% of your deadlift weight and we're going to do a 1-arm farmer's carry. You need handles for this because the farmer's carry handles are very different than using a dumbbell or a kettlebell. In my experience, the dumbbell and the kettlebell is way harder, but you also, like in terms of your grip and your forearm, but you also feel it in different areas. So you need a farmer's handle to do this strength testing. You're gonna feel it in your hip and in your own obliques with the farmer's handle. So 50% of your deadlift weight for a 1-arm farmer's carry, you're gonna carry it as far as you possibly can. Every 10 meters is 1 rep. So if you got 8 deadlifts and let's say 8, however many back squats, you should be able to do 80 meters on your right side. You fully rest and recover, 5 minutes plus, then you do it on your left side. Again, you should be able to get 80 meters on your left side with 50 pounds, 50% of your deadlift weight. So yeah, guys, for those, or ladies, those of you that are doing 300, 400 pound deadlifts, your 1-arm carry should be really, really strong and heavy. And that's going to tell you a lot about your unilateral strength, grip strength, your forearms, your elbow, your shoulder, all that stuff. That's what the carry is for, but also your hips and your obliques. From there, that's going to give you as well an assessment of your right side carry strength and all the muscles that are involved in that versus your left side carry strength. Again, and all the muscles that revolve around doing that exercise, which is an amazing test and assessment of strength and strength balance. Okay, last one we're going to do is a front rack step up. So you're going to get that barbell in that front rack position with 33% of your deadlift weight. So 1/3, or multiply the deadlift by 0.33. For this, we're going to do 33 pounds in a front rack step up. We want to use a box height that is slightly above our knee. Okay, so our hip at the top is going to be as if we are squatting below parallel, right? Like our hip is going to be below our knee. So not only does this test assess single leg strength, single leg like quad strength, and all the muscles that a step up does, pretty much your whole lower body. It's going to assess your core. But what we find is a lot of people are really, really weak in the bottom of a squat. And that's what this assessment is for, but also single leg strength. So many reps as you can on your left side, rest 5+ minutes, fully recover, many reps as you can on your right side. Once again, you're testing unilateral strength, right? Your left side step up versus your right side step up. So that in itself is going to tell you a lot about your body and your strength balance and your weaknesses. Okay. So then what we do is we take all these numbers, we just put them on a piece of paper or a whiteboard. We say, hey, Tim, you got 8 deadlifts at 100 pounds. Okay, great. You got 3 back squats at 80 pounds. You got one rep, 10 meters on your 1-arm carry on the right. You got 2 on the left. And you couldn't do a step up on either leg, or you got 4 on one side, 0 on the other. Okay. Now, I'm exaggerating here, but we see this all the time. We're going to see people that have a discrepancy between their deadlift and their back squat. Okay, either way. But most of the time, it's going to be a weaker back squat. We're going to see people that completely fail the 1-arm carry test because they just don't carry a lot. They have weak grip strength. They have weak forearms. And again, that's testing all these elbow muscles, right? Like I'm talking to you pitchers, I'm talking to you quarterbacks and people that are throwing. Extremely beneficial and helpful for people that have elbow issues or want to protect obviously their elbow, their forearm, and their shoulders. Okay, so you're going to see people with super weak carries and grip strength, also discrepancies side to side, left to right, and then you're also going to see the front rack step up is like probably the #1 test that most people will fail, or we will see the biggest discrepancy from side to side. And I tell this story all the time. I've had somebody that was able to do a 40-pound step up for 10 reps on their right leg, and they got 0 on their left leg, which is crazy.
But then we tried to find like what they were actually able to do on their left side. They were only able to do body weight step ups on their left side. So that strength imbalance and discrepancy is crazy. And sometimes, we do see crazy numbers like that. But our goal is to create a more structurally balanced athlete or human being to just be more resilient, feel better overall, perform better, have less injuries, less aches and pains and discomfort. And we find when we work on these exercises, which are working on different muscles and structures in our body, they feel better. They feel better. They get stronger at most other exercises in the gym, because if you make your weaknesses now a strength, everything just feels better. Okay, so if your front rack step up increases, we tend to see your squats feel so much better. Your back feels better. Your squat usually increases. One arm farmer carry, when we see that increase, your deadlift is typically going to increase. Anything that requires grip is going to increase. So pull-ups, toe to bar, anything on like a pull-up bar is going to increase significantly and just be stronger and more stable and less, injuries, aches and pains, like I mentioned. And so our goal is to have somebody get as close to possible as getting in the same repetitions on each one of these exercises. And if they don't, that's when we just know that, hey, we are going to focus on your step ups and your carries for the next few months to try to close that gap. Okay. Also, deadlift to squat, what we're testing is your backside of your body, your posterior chain versus the front side of your body, your quads, your hips, your knees. And we're also able to see people that tend to have like knee pain or hip injuries fail those step up and squat tests. People that tend to have a lot of like hamstring injuries and issues tend to maybe have a really weak deadlift, or they fail our toe touch test for hamstring flexibility. And we'll talk about the flexibility test as well as our upper body strength assessment and test in future videos. But this is extremely, extremely beneficial for any athlete that's looking to reduce injuries, just perform better, feel better, as well as anyone like myself that is just training